Congress should demand to know what the evidence is that these boats are part of a cartel, some invading or hostile foreign adversary that would justify using the rules of law and war against these kinds of boats. Congress should be having hearings, literally right now. There's no reason we can't do it. And demand to know what the facts are, as well as also urging that the War Powers Act be implemented in those factual situations.
I am not. The President of the United States doing exactly what he should be doing. He's the commander-in-chief. When he sees an invasion coming against the United States, he takes action. He's a leader. He should take that action. I support him 100%.
I authorize for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the they came in through the border. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer?
Thank you. Curious, why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged
Well, I can't
drug
do
boats in
that,
the
but
Caribbean?
I authorize for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the they came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've entered they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back. But that's a really bad, and they did it at a level that probably not, many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners, with mentally ill people that are seriously ill, criminally ill. And we're not going to take it. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I can tell you, we've taken care of the sea. There's nobody, and we're watching. We're watching. And if we see it, we'll save it. Yeah, please.
On the ships, though, sir, there are Republicans and Democrats up on the Hill concerned that in the briefings they've gotten about those attacks, they're not necessarily getting information about who was on them and what exactly was on those ships. Can you ensure that
but they are given information that they were loaded up with drugs, and that's the thing that matters. When they're loaded up with drugs, they're fair game. And every one of those ships they're not ships, they're boats, they're speedboats. They're extremely fast, record-setting type speedboats. They cost a lot of money, and they have a lot of money because they're drug sellers. But they know one thing, and they all have the same thing in common. There's drug dust. They call it drug dust. They call it fentanyl dust all over the boat after those bombs go off. And you can take along.
Attack them, though, that they're
We know before. We know when they go out. We know we have much information about each boat that goes out. Deep, strong information. Yeah.
The people that will celebrate the most if a regime change happens in Venezuela are the Venezuelans that are really under stress and under permanent human rights violation. But the next people that will celebrate is us Colombians, because Maduro has held in his territory the FARC, the ELN, and other criminal bands attacking Colombian people and allowing them to do crime from the Venezuelan territory. So honestly, it is convenient for Colombia to see a change of government in Venezuela.
So if you are elected, what would the Venezuelan-Colombian relationship be?
Well, there will be two types of relationship. The political one, if Maduro is there, is going to be a very difficult one and very distant. But if you put it in terms of border, people, trade, and day-to-day, let's say, consular relationship, we will have one. Because the people in our border needs that.
We've seen another attack of a vessel off the coast of Venezuela. And importantly, I think this is the fifth such attack on the US military on a vessel in the region. And of course, the narrative is that there's a fight against the narco trade. And there's been a big push from the US side on this. What is your perspective on this? Is this the right thing to do for the US to get involved in those seas?
Let me put it this way. Venezuela has become a narco state. They have narco-communism in the head of Maduro. He leads the cartel de los Soles, and that's very bad news for Latin America. But it's harming Colombia, because as you know, Colombia was moving into security, but sadly 10 years ago we moved away from our policies and we started to deteriorate security again, and drug trafficking is becoming again a major issue.
Decirle al pueblo de Estados Unidos.
Tell the American people no to war. We do not want a war in the Caribbean or in South America.
No, not war. Just peace.
We can't just have war declared by a president. And look, I'm a fan of Donald Trump. I support him. But I'm not supporting any president just taking us to war willy-nilly without a vote of Congress. The difference between war and dealing with crime is during war you don't ask who people's names are. You can just kill them summarily. That's what war is. But if it's a crime like drugs or like interdiction of drugs, we have long-standing had rules for engagement. We have also had due process. You can't just blow up boats of people who you don't even know their name. In fact, y'all should be asking the White House, what are their names and what is the proof that they were involved in this crime? They're accused of something. We basically are summarily executing people who are accused of something. It's a terrible idea. I got to.
Jamás.
Never before had any previous government, since the CIA has existed, publicly said that it was sending the CIA to kill, to overthrow, and to destroy countries.